What's up, everybody? It's your boy DNS all day. I'm in the spot. Finna do basically part two of that other little stream we did the other day. I didn't do it yesterday because I ain't really have a lot of time, but we got a little time to come up in here real quick and get through some of these other little topics and stuff I want to talk about and how internet has really like changed things for our lives and us and people in general. Chilling, got my coffee right now. It's the afternoon time. Got my little coffee. So let's go over some of the points that I already did earlier because I got some good ones coming up. But we went over phone calls and letters. We went over learning at the library or the bookstore, records, tapes, CDs, video games, and movie watching. Matter of fact, I'll probably connect that part to this one just in case they watch this one first. And then, you can go back and see the first one. Then we did online shopping, which was a big one. Traveling and booking trips. That's another crazy one now, especially nowadays. You see it, especially since CV is gone and all of that stuff. Like you notice that a lot of people they kind of like just go everywhere just super easily. It's a lot of people that I see, man, that won't even be at home. They'll just be too busy running across everywhere because it is much simpler now. It's a lot more simpler. Won't even be at home though, which be crazy to me sometimes. I mean, it's okay, to go out and go on a trip or something, but some people just take it overboard. Then we did board games and family night, and now we're on movie theaters. Yeah, movie theaters. That's a good one though. Movie theaters is a good one because we kind of covered this a little bit in the last one. We was kind of jumping around a little bit, but movie theaters is a good one because just think about it. Like I said, not only is the hype as big as what it used to be for like going out to the movies and going to a movie, you got to think about the atmosphere and the type of movies that we're watching too. It's like we're watching some different kind of stuff nowadays. And now, if you go into the theater nowadays, you'll see plenty of people on their phones, right? Like back in the day, before the internet and all of that, you go in there and you just had to really just sit and watch. You can maybe talk a little bit with the people next to you quietly, but you ain't want to be rude or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was another big one. I think the whole experience of it though, I think it was better because it had you more connected. Like I said, now you will go to a theater with someone and they'll literally be just sitting at their phone, staring at their phone, or just looking through this or that when you should be into the moment, and the atmosphere. Back in the day, the movie theater was a place that was always damn near packed, especially when a good movie came out. And to be honest, it was way more movie theaters back in the day as well. Like we already know, I already talked about like all the drive-ins and stuff like that. But just movie theaters in general, it used to be a lot more, even in places where you wouldn't even expect them to be. Straight up. Like even in certain neighborhoods and stuff like that, like I said, where you wouldn't expect certain people to be, they'll be there. And I remember hearing stories from like our parents or our grandparents, and I remember them telling us about how they used to go to certain places that aren't there anymore, kind of like movie theaters, and they used to talk about how it was all cool and how people used to get along a little more. Like we always knew stuff happens, but I just remember them saying that it was more of a togetherness thing. Like back then, you could walk down the street with you and your friends and you would be fine and you didn't really have to worry about nothing. Nowadays it's kind of skeptical with a lot of things. So I do feel like that. I do really do feel like the movie theater was well, it was just so much better, man, back then. Nowadays, it's just I don't know. And then with the movies being online too, it's just not of a big deal. That's why a lot of movie theaters, even out here, aren't even there anymore. I remember certain movie theaters growing up going to are just gone now. I can remember some of the movies I watched in the past. G4L Bandicoot, what's up, man? He said the internet has made everything way too easy. There are literally kids using Alexa to get the answer every time that they do their homework. Yeah, that's very true. And back in the day, we did not have it like that. I had covered that in the last one. I was talking about information and education. And I was saying that, like, back in the day, if we really needed something, we really had to read those books or go to the library. Now, right, just ask Alexa. Alexa will tell you. You don't even gotta type. It's already bad enough you don't gotta write nothing. Now you don't even gotta type nothing. You could just say it. Just, Alexa, what is this? And then Alexa come on with that voice, tell you. Yeah, these kids definitely got it easy when it comes to that. Just think about that, and just think about how much will that actually encourage people to want to learn. You know, it doesn't really encourage people to want to learn. You're a little kid and you already feel like you got the answers to everything. So what's the point of really learning? Just because you have the answers to stuff doesn't mean you're learning it. You know, that's the disappointment. And and yeah, back to the movie theaters. Like I said, man, like it definitely was something. It definitely was different back then. And just thinking about some of those big hit movies that used to come out, oh boy, man, the movie theater was something. All right, number 9 is Cooking. Now, with cooking is another big one. I don't hear people talk about this one that much, but cooking is another thing that changed a lot before the internet. Because back in the day, when it came to cooking, you literally had to learn these recipes on your own, from your own experience, your own what you wanted to try out, or you had to go read cookbooks. I even seen on the news the other day, they were talking about how a lot of old cookbooks are going up in value and price. And I think that's true, honestly, because some of those recipes are probably forgotten at this point in time. He said the internet has made everything. Oh, damn, is that? Oh, damn, that's the same comment. Yeah, I don't know why that went on there twice. But, yeah, with the cooking though, I do feel like it was more of a learning process with that too, or maybe it wanted to make you pay attention more. Like back in the day, if you wanted to kind of learn how to cook, sometimes you would sit in the kitchen with the people who were cooking, and you would just sit there and watch them. Might even ask them some questions like, "How do you do this?" And then it builds up, over time, and then you might add something to the mix, or like I said, read a cookbook. Or you had to have word of mouth or know somebody who was willing to give you their recipes, when nowadays you could just easily go on the internet at the touch of your phone and easily look up hella recipes easy. And not only can you look them up, you can even go watch them be done. So it's like it kind of takes away a little bit from the satisfaction and appreciation of a good cooked meal, but it's still helpful because learning how to cook is still a good thing in general. But just think about how much more of an effort and how it probably would feel back then, because a lot of people, they never experienced these things that I'm talking about. A lot of our generations and our youth they'll never know what it was like to learn really how to cook before the internet. And I would advise buying some of those cooking books too. We got Dre up in here.
Hi.
What up? Yeah,
Yeah.
we was just talking about the cooking and stuff, and I was talking about how, remember I said they was talking about them cookbooks being expensive, them old cookbooks.
Oh yeah, being expensive and they're vintage. That makes sense because old
Mm-hmm.
cookbooks are vintage.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good topic. I love cooking. That's I came in at the right time, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I was just thinking too. But yeah, like cooking, like nowadays, yeah, you do just gotta watch it. Kind of like with TikTok. Like, look what TikTok is doing to cooking. Like, they making
Hmm.
cooking seem goofy and just for fun and act, when it should be a
Yeah,
serious, more type of
a
thing because it's
serious
food.
process. Yeah, not so simple, not so just to the point. It's like really a serious process. Take your time, especially when like you're cooking a whole meal. Just take your time and go through it. And yeah, cookbooks are definitely helpful. They still
Yeah,
do cookbooks like Patty LaBelle. Patty LaBelle have a cookbook. Like they still have new cookbooks available.
And I feel like it would be better, like, just like nowadays, right? Like if you look up for something to cook or one, like a lot of times you'll just end up seeing the higher stuff, which a lot of times be the
Mhm.
goofy stuff. A lot of times the real high stuff be the goofy stuff when you really just looking for somebody who can honestly just cook something for you, you
Right.
know. But back in the day, you literally had to. But back in the day, it was more of a thing. That's why back in the day, it was more of a thing to cook. Like back in the day, it was way more people that were
Way
willing and
more.
wanted to cook than what it is
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, cooking is so different today. It is so different. And I think the internet is like a good handy book if you kind of have an idea of what you're doing, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you or you know family done it and you done some of it or help family
Mm-hmm.
do it before. So you just need like a just like a little guide, just like a something to go by just if you forget a few things. But if you just never done it before, yeah, it would be better to have at least a family recipe or a cookbook
I
instead of
agree.
just starting from scratch. That's kind of difficult to do just looking on the internet. I mean, over the time you can learn it, but I do think it would be more handy to have a family recipe or a cookbook.
Oh, I see Adam. He said my internet being weird. I hate when that happens, Adam. I hate when that happens. Some of
Oh,
the best recipes in history are old recipes. Like some recipes that were just so great are still here to this day from like over hundreds of years ago. And
mhm,
these be old, and not, and it could be simple shit like Pepsi, Coke. Sometimes they switch shit up, but a lot of these companies really do stick to their original shit that got them
mhm.
started years and years and years ago. You know,
Yeah, definitely. If it's not broke, right?
don't fix it. So yeah, that's another one, man. Cooking is a lot different now with the internet. Like, and one more thing, like I said, it's like they really do be trying to make food turn into a goofy thing. It's like everything now when you look online, not everything. You see some good cooking channels, but a lot of them do be like goofy or just too commercial,
Yeah.
or they don't even be that detailed. Just like a lot of those TikTok ones. Like how in the world, this is why I think TikTok is a joke. How in the world do you get millions and millions of views, but the shit don't have no type of detail in it, and it be over in like 48 seconds?
Mhm.
Now cooking is a process, and goofy shit like that, So, but let's move on though. Now, number 10 is the news, man. That's another thing that has changed a huge, huge, huge lot. I
Yeah.
recently watched the South Park episode that pretty much broke this down pretty well. And they were talking about how the news had to become more of an ad to be the news. Because back in the day, you just had the newspapers. That was it. That was literally the only way you could get news before TVs, any of that. It was newspapers. And newspaper
Mhm.
had ad, but that ain't mean you had to look at them and you had to watch them and you
Right.
had to wait for the paper to come. There was no turning no TV on and checking this channel and stuff. None of that existed.
So simple, right? No,
Yeah.
you had to wait for it. And you know what? And if you did watch the news back in the day, it was only like 3 channels.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like so many different news. It was only about 2 to 3 channels to begin with. What was it? I don't know. I think it was like 2, 5, and 7 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
That was it. So if you weren't reading the newspaper, you had to watch those channels, and it still wasn't the same as today.
I know nowadays it's everywhere. Nowadays it's on 24/7.
Hmm
24/7 now.
And it's at the palm of your hands. It's like you can see anything, but it's ridiculous because it's on so much, but yet they only push certain things.
Right.
They only push certain things. I think back in the day, the news might have had a little bit more facts and things for you to know what's going on. Even then, though, even then, they still only push certain
But
narratives
better
of certain things.
journalism back
It was
then.
better journalism, more realism, more real. It's just like certain topics, when it comes to racial things, certain like that, still wouldn't get pushed as it should. But still, it was different from today, where it's like way worse when it comes to things that should be pushed on the news. That's not. I mean, some of the topics not even. real things that's going on around the city.
Yeah.
So that's just weird.
G4L said, yeah, they're making everything way too reliant on the internet, and it's going to come back to bite them all in the butt in the future. I agree. People being way too reliant, because you don't have to be, but now the way things are, it's like everything is so reliant on it. I seen a report earlier saying, could a person live in 2023 without the internet? And then you gotta look at it like, damn, they are making it harder and harder to do anything. Well,
Mhm.
even important stuff like getting a license or getting an ID or something is starting to be more related to that, you know?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Everything is surrounding. It's like some things you can still do without the internet, but some things are just easier to do with the internet.
Yeah. And
And that's how
with
they like setting it up. They making it more difficult to do it the normal way. Just do it on the internet. But everybody can't do it on the internet. So I don't think it's fair to make it so difficult to do the normal way.
Yep. And with the news too, that's why I feel like nowadays the news is kind of worse. It is more of an ad, and it is more of a programming now, because now it's on every day all the time. It's full of ads even in it. Like the news
Mhm.
really is kind of like full of ads, and it's like you said, opening up the paper back in the day and reading that newspaper made you feel important. It
Mhm.
made you feel like you were keeping up on things.
And it was
Nowadays,
good.
right?
It
And
was
it was
good
more rare.
intellectually. It was good intellectually too to have to look and do the reading for your mind. I think that was good too.
And now it's all in your face. It's like now
Yeah.
sometimes you can't even think for yourself because it's all in your phone. It's everywhere. They're telling you this, you're telling you that. South Park did a good job in making fun of it
They
too.
did. They did a great job. They did a great job. Cause it's serious. It's really serious. What is it? Because they were talking about, is it news or is it just an ad? And I
Right.
see that a lot now on my phone. I be like, this is just an ad, ad, ad. Did you know this? It's all ads. It's not really news.
Yeah, which is kind of true. Even with like certain YouTubers and stuff, you'll think what they doing is really something, but the whole time it's just an ad, and they won't even
Hmm.
tell you. You know. But yeah, the news has definitely changed. It definitely has changed. It was more of a rarity. You had to get your paper, you had to get subscriptions. I mean, the newspaper, as you can see, has been phased out. I don't even think it was so much of people not reading it. I just think they just want to phase it out. As you can see, they want everything to be online or be digital, and that's another form of it. You used to get the
Hmm.
newspaper in your hand that you can keep, and those were actually good pieces of material to let people know were dates. Like I be watching certain stuff, you know what I'm saying, and people will explore certain things, and then you find a newspaper. Nowadays, you
And
can't
you
do
know the
that.
date.
Right now, you
Hmm.
can't do that no more. Now and now they can sit here and pump as much news out as they want and spend less money because now they don't have to print all those papers and worry about all that delivery and all of that.
It's so digital. So digital. That's true. Much less printing, but yet they're printing for other things. So it's like you're not really saving the environment by not printing the news, but you're printing other things that's probably less important.
Yeah, as you can see, like through this whole thing we've been talking about, that's what the internet has been doing. Yeah, it's been making things more easier, but it's also taking the value away from a lot of
Yeah.
things. As you can see, that's the thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's more easier, but the value of stuff has just really decreased now because of it.
Mhm.
Because when we had it a little tougher and work, it increased the value of stuff. Now, oh, it's so easy, everybody can get it and do it, you know. So the next one is cameras, and this is another big one. Cameras is another
Mhm.
thing that changed our lives completely
Oh
from how they
yes.
used to be to how they are now.
Oh yeah. And I used to love cameras. I had my whole digital camera era, and even before that, I had the regular. Everybody had the regular cameras with the film.
Hell
But even
yeah.
to this day, I still would love to have, because that's one of my favorite things is the cameras. But I would love to have one of those cameras that print out photos. They still sell those too in Walmart. The
Mm-hmm.
what's those called? I can't think of it right now. But that prints out the photo though. You know what I mean? The old school photo.
Uh-huh.
It literally prints it out when after you take it. Those are nice. Oh, Polaroid. A Polaroid. Because it's vintage and it's something to keep. And it's like now, most people take it on their phones instead of having a real digital camera or a digital recorder. We used to have those too. And have a lot of home movies. I don't know if people even do that no more with the home movies, but I definitely grew up with the home movies, and it'd be like this little bitty tape that you put into the actual VH1 tape.
Yeah, I don't know who that person is, but they finna get blocked though. I'm blocking that person. They coming
Yes,
in.
but I love those. What happened?
Somebody was just coming in talking crazy. I just had to block them.
Mm. But I am a fan of cameras, so that's something that really did change because now it's on your phones. But even to this day, I think people should still like get those pictures printed out, so you can still get your pictures printed out at Walgreens
Uh
from
huh.
your phone. So therefore, you can have a photo album like they used to do. But people, it's like it's still ways around things where you can do things like they used to, but people just not choosing to do so. And I hope eventually that don't change where now you can't even go do it because not enough people is doing it. But you
All
can
right.
still get your photos printed out and videos put on tapes and DVDs. But it's totally different. It's totally different.
I agree, and yeah, you right, Raven. Raven said people used to keep it real before the internet. That's funny as hell, and I
Mhm.
agree. People did used to keep it more real before the internet because all you had was just your real life, and that would encourage people to on their real life because that's all you had. That's all you had.
Mhm.
And now come on here and be some fantasy person. That's why a lot of stuff on the internet you can't trust anyways because people are always come on here and be like, oh, I could fake and act like I'm this. Oh, I could fake and look like this. Or I could fake and act like this is happening, and live a
Mhm.
completely different lifestyle. And that encourages them to never work on themselves. Back in the day, I mean, people always did BS. But back in the day, it was just more. It was more realness. I will admit, it was, and a lot of these things that we are talking about encouraged you to be realer too. Like even with the
Mhm.
cameras, like I mean that you really had to care about the pictures you took. You just wouldn't like nowadays. People would take a picture or whatever, do whatever, delete it, redo it 1,000 times because they know they can easily take another one. Back then, people used to really, really put effort into their pictures. And if you notice
Mhm.
when you looked at pictures back in the day, you couldn't say that people didn't care about it. Like you could just look at the people in the pictures and you could just tell that they cared. And then you had to go through the effort, right, of taking the pictures. Then you had to take it to the spot, pay the money, wait for the
Mhm.
pictures. So you really,
Keep them
really
printed out.
right. Not nowadays you could do whatever you want. Nowadays you could send a D pic all nasty all over across the internet. You could do this all now look what that's doing. Now everybody having a camera, look what's going on now. And now it's
Mhm.
adding more exposure too. Now people just want to do goofy shit just because they know they got a camera and they can be seen. That's another thing that's
Exactly.
going on a lot. Back in the day, again, you had to be a little more realer about the stuff that you did. Nowadays, oh, let's just fake and do this, like I said, or let's do this so we can
Mhm.
record it.
Much different. Much
Now you got
different.
the whole damn nine. Now, not only do you got pictures, now you got video recordings on top of it. Shit is
Mhm.
crazy.
And they're doing just excessive. It's just no limit. No limit to what they're doing with these new cameras and recordings these days.
Yeah, no
No
limit.
limit.
Give you that black card.
Yes.
No limit, baby.
No limit, baby. No
uh,
limit.
Raven said everything is instant gratification nowadays. I agree. I agree. And that's what they want. They want instant gratification. But we know how the
Mhm.
saying goes. The good things in life you gotta work for. The good things in life you gotta be patient for. That instant stuff
Exactly.
doesn't really bring the good important things to you. Cause real
No
important
doubt.
things you have to put time and effort into, you know?
Mhm. The best things take time and effort to complete.
Yep. Yeah, the instant gratification is like it's like a drug, right? It's like a drug. You get that instant little high, you get that instant little pop, but then it's gone, and then you gonna want to do it again, and then you get high again, and then it's gone, and
Yeah.
then you want to go do it again. Then it's a never ending process because you are never gonna fulfill the things inside of you that you really need to do in order to have true gratification
Hmm.
at the instant, right?
That's
But
right.
cameras definitely that is a big one. Cameras is a big one, man. Um, here go another one. Number 12 is penmanship.
Penmanship. That's a good one.
Yes, yeah, penmanship. Now the reason why I'm saying penmanship is because it's basically our form of writing. You know, like we used to be people who used to be more into writing in cursive. We was talking about sending letters. More stuff used to be handwritten out,
Hmm.
you know, and to compare it to nowadays where everything is all digital, everything is all typed up on the computer, all digital, not really written. People used to improve your skills, you know, your handwriting skills. Writing is almost a form of artwork. You know, it
Yeah.
almost is like people who could write real good, a lot of times could do art real good.
Yeah. It goes hand to hand pretty much.
And we know that's a great talent. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, yeah, penmanship is another thing that I feel like is lacking. They're already talking about children not doing cursive anymore. And again, like I just said, doing cursive and doing stuff like that does make you more creative. I remember when I was growing up as a kid, I remember I used to like doing it. I used to like
Oh
looking
yes.
at the chart of the letters in cursive, A through Z, big and
Yes.
small, and I used to really like trying to copy that and make it look as
Hmm.
good and as close as possible to it. I
You
remember
used to
that.
have to. Remember, they used to make us practice that all the time when we was young.
They had us
Practice the
practicing.
capitals in lower cases.
Man, they had us practicing that in first grade.
Yeah.
First grade. So I don't know what they doing now. But yes, in first grade, they had us practicing cursive. No BS.
Yes. That's when we learned our cursive because you learned all the other stuff in kindergarten. Once you got to first, it's okay. It's cursive time. And that's how you learned your capital cursives and your lowercase, and you have to do it on them sheets of paper. You remember them sheets of paper? Oh my goodness! And it was like
The
that
with the
weird
colors,
type of paper.
with the colors,
Yes,
yeah, and it was thick.
yes,
The paper was thick and it
yeah,
was like blue and red. It was like blue
yeah.
with
It was
red.
different colors.
Yep. That's classic right
That's
there.
what we had to practice off of, and the whole sheet you had to do it.
That paper was so ugly.
Ah, and then it was ugly ones that was like brown.
And that
And
paper
we
was
had to
hard.
practice.
That paper
Yep.
was hard to erase too. Trying to erase on
Oh
that
yes,
paper.
it was hard to. You would end up breaking the paper. You'll rip it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that was on purpose. They like don't mess up, or you'll have to start all over. That was on purpose. Let's find out.
That is why they did that. But
But
yeah,
no, handwriting is important though. That is important. That's how you tell. That's a self qualification. That's
yeah.
identification. That's how you can tell who a person is. That's why you used to have to get people's signatures, which you still do. I don't know for how long if they're not teaching cursive anymore. I don't know how you're gonna get your
Even
signature.
that's electronic now in a lot of places. And you'll
Yeah.
sign it electronically. And then you could tell, boy, they give you that fat ass pen, that stupid ass pad.
Yes, and it
They
don't
don't
even
give a
go.
damn how good you even write your name. They don't give a
They don't
fuck.
even care if it's really you, honestly. You can be writing anyways. Even on cell phones, they ask for that, but that's supposed to be a identification, though. That's how you know it's you. That's how, because somebody can write a phony letter and it can be committing a crime and say that you did it and you can get
That's
locked
true.
up.
Yep.
If they don't know your handwriting. Back in the day, you'll know, like, this is not his handwriting. This is not her handwriting.
Now you right about that.
Yeah, but if you don't have a certain type of handwriting or you can't even write, that's kind of not safe, honestly.
Facts. Raven said, I wish I learned cursive writing at school. Yeah, man. They really
Yeah,
had
I
us
love
doing that.
cursive.
They really had us doing that, man. It's sad that they
Yeah,
not teaching the kids that, which just drives them more than just typing. You just typing them digitally. just typing away, not learning
And you
your,
know what? Even when typing, it's like, I hope they are really typing out these words. I mean, of course, school makes you do that, but you already know because when it comes to cell phones, this most people just use shorthand sentences
or
and shorthand
autocorrect.
words or autocorrect. So I hope they're really knowing how to spell and do those things now because yeah, that kind of messes you up if you're only typing but you got autocorrect or you only use shorthand when texting. Like, do you really know your words these
Nah,
days?
you right about that because a lot of people do text. Like, how many people do you know, right? That at that text and actually write the whole word out. That is very true.
Exactly.
That is very true. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, most people, it's a damn fucking, it's a symbol for every
And
damn thing. Even without emojis, it's just this would be spelt another way, that word be spelt another way. It'd be all
yes.
quick. Like instead of with, it'd be with. Instead of, like
Yes.
shit like that. That's so true. Instead of you, it'll be just the letter U.
You got to think like when it comes to job applications, making your resume. See, they're not gonna know how to do these type of things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just something to think about. Like, what are they really teaching these kids if they can't write or read too well? I'm not saying they can't write or read too well, but I'm just saying if they're taking out, especially handwriting and real typing, how are they gonna be able to do these things?
Right. Right. And I got one more, but that's another good one too. Cause that's just gonna be so shocking too, just thinking about the kids. But the last one, which is a good one, is personal interactions. And this
Hmm.
is probably one of the most important ones on the list because back in the day, you really did appreciate people more and you appreciated being around people more and you look more into who people really were. You know, nowadays, with people thinking they know everything because they think they've seen everything online. Now, now, like I said, they feel like everything is disposable and simple. They don't care as much because they think they seen it here or seen it there. But back then,
Hmm.
just the experience of just being around people was an experience. That's why when you looked at old shows like from the 80s or the 90s, a lot of those shows, what did they used to do? They used to have spots that they used to go to so they can interact and be chill, and it would be good spots. And it's
Yeah,
hella shows like
with
that.
the friends,
Some shows
with your homies.
literally were based off of those spots. And that's
Yeah.
because of the interaction with others. People appreciated to be around people more. Like you did. And it wasn't no
Hmm.
phones back then. It wasn't no, oh, I can sit here and look at another person while I'm around another group of people. You really had to
Hmm.
pay attention more back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Like you said, interaction, because that's the thing. Like you hang out, and right, if you ain't had no cell phone, then right, you really had to just chill with them. You really had to just chill with who you was with and appreciate who you was with. And now,
Yeah.
I mean, even back in the day though, you could have your distractions. You could be, on the house phone or anything, but you still value who you was around. And just having human interactions. That's what I was talking about with the whole getting out the house and actually going to see your friends instead of just seeing them every day on Instagram or on any
Yeah.
social media you see. Like you actually go hang with them. Actually go. I mean, it's a rare concept. People do still do these things, but it's much, much less than the norm.
To be honest,
Actually, go see these people. Go hang with these people. Go spend time with these people instead of oh, I'm
just
just gonna text
watching
you every
them.
now and then,
Right.
or
And
I'm
just
just watch
watching
your
them.
social media every now and then.
Yeah, to be honest, social media has broken up a lot of friendships. Like if social
Hmm.
media would have never came around, I bet you it's a lot of friendships today that would still exist. Social media made a lot of people care only about social media instead of their
Hmm.
actual real
And just
friendships.
looking at their stuff, being nosy.
Yup.
Call these people. Actually, go around these people. Spend time with them. They're not really doing that.
Raven said parents in the future will be homeschooling their children or sending them to private school for their education. I agree. I agree. Because if you really want your child nowadays to get a proper education, you're going to probably have to do one of those two things. Because there's so many important things in life that these schools will never teach your kids. You know,
Mhm.
it's something as simple as be telling the truth. You know, that they'll never even teach kids that. You know, they don't, because they don't want you caring about that type of stuff. You know, they just want you
Mhm.
caring about their type, whatever, to get you into their system. Again, be a drone. You know, it's so many things that they'll just never mention, never teach your child, never tell them, not even tell them the truth about it. Truth is a part of education.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You got to watch these schools. I say that if you don't have the money to send them to public school, I mean to private school or homeschool, I definitely you would have to literally watch and really be on these public schools. You can't just be sending them to school and letting them do whatever and just wait for report cards. You would have to really, really pay attention because
Yep.
they try to do whatever they want to do these days. I would have a lot of rules and regulations. Yeah,
The
I
internet
would.
is allowing these kids to think they grown too. Now you got kids thinking they grown just based off what they seen and what they know on the internet, and it allows them to be sneaky instead of letting the kid be a
Mhm.
kid. Back in the day, a kid used to be a kid and grow up as a kid. Now they got all this access to all of this shit. Now they think they grown because they like, oh, we
Mhm.
doing what the adults is doing. You know, that's
Mhm.
another problem.
That's true.
Be a kid while you a kid. And then when you
Yeah, because they
did,
don't know.
so when you get grown, you're gonna be like, damn, this is what it's like. Like, hell yeah, this is what it's like.
Yeah, be a child and learn child things. They want to be on the internet doing all this other stuff, but you're not even learning what you should be learning as a kid.
Right.
At a certain age, you should know how to do A, B, and C instead of worry about what's going on the internet so much.
And now you got
That's
these
the
little young
problem.
kids attracted to these grown ass people online, like artists and everything. But back to personal interactions though, yes, that was a bigger important thing back in the day. Like even in businesses and place you would go, people appreciated the
Hmm.
reactions a little bit more. You got more out of it because you knew it was something you couldn't get all the time. Just because something is easier doesn't mean it's better. You know,
Yeah.
just because now you think you can have all these online people or whatever don't mean it's better, because what about the real world and how is it making you really perceive the real world, and what are you really doing for yourself in the real world?
In the real world. Because that's what I would end this with. I would end this with what I done heard so much, even in a new stand-up comedy, which it basically all comes down to with the internet is attention. That's basically what it all comes down to. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
getting that fix off the internet, I feel like people feel like they don't need to get it nowhere else when even though it shouldn't even be all about attention. But once they
Yeah.
get all of that attention on the internet, now they feel like they don't need to go out to go do this. They don't need to go out communicate with people in the real world. They don't need to go and get some air in the real world. They don't need to do nothing in the real world. They got all their attention on the internet. What's the point? And that's the whole bad part about it.
Right.
Because the internet is close up your phone, close up your computer, close it all up. It's gone. It's nothing. It's not really real. It's not really a real thing in your real life that you can touch and feel and that you're really building.
Mm-hmm.
It only can do so much. So I just wish that would stop being the concept. Oh, I'm doing all this on the internet. I mean, even the fact people making money on the internet, that's fine. That's great if you're making money on the internet. But are you
Mm-hmm.
building something up out of that for the real world?
True, because that's true. A lot of people are making big bucks. I mean, we've seen a lot of them, but they'll take the money and do some of the worst stuff with it in their real life, which is so true.
Yeah.
And
Are
another
you building
thing,
something up? Like, okay,
yeah,
you making this and that much. Okay, YouTube got you rich right now. Do you think YouTube gonna be around for your grandchildren? Do you think that's really gonna have wealth for your whole generation? What are you really
true.
building out of what you're doing today?
Especially with how Titan has gotten compared to the good old days of it. And another thing I
Right.
noticed too is like even in our communities, like I feel like communities aren't as close as what they used to. Like when I say communities, I mean like whatever town, whatever city, whatever you stay in, whatever block, whatever neighborhood. Back in the day, the communities used to be way more together and knowing of each other and looking out for one another, because again, that's all you knew unless you traveled or
Mhm.
you wrote. and that would connect you more to the people around you, which is good. Having a good, strong
Hmm.
community or neighborhood is a wonderful thing. Like
Exactly. That's awesome.
even when I was growing up, man, you damn near knew everybody in your town,
People
you
knew
know?
each other. Yeah, just like when I was growing up. People knew each other, and then if you didn't know maybe a couple of houses, families, okay, you just skip over that house. But
Mm-hmm.
most of the neighborhood, you knew. You knew who lived here, here, there, all of that.
Right. And it was more of a togetherness, like even with events, like it's certain places that don't even have events anymore. And nowadays, if you look at a lot of communities, it's like everybody is separated. It's like everybody is just on their own shit. No more togetherness and about what happens in the community. I don't really see
Hmm.
that as much no more. And again, it could be because of the
That's
internet. Well,
sad.
I'm just
They
on
not
here on
even
doing this,
just on
I'm
here.
doing that. I don't have to worry about my community because I'm doing this here, And it made a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
people
not
more toxic too. A lot of people have become
very,
toxic of that because,
very
like you
toxic.
said, it's like you just don't have to worry about shit. You're just like, all right, I'm done, But it's a lot of
Hmm.
repercussions to what you do, and you would feel it a lot more if it was real. And it would help you
Hmm.
understand it more. But how can you
Very toxic.
understand things that you're not really experiencing in real world? Just like with the communities, man.
No consequences. They get on the internet and on social medias and they talk like this and do this and then they try to do it in the real world. Like you can't do that in the real world. You're gonna get fired. Ain't no unfriending. You just not gonna have nobody to talk to you or be around you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. It's consequences. Ain't nobody still gonna like you or come view you if you're acting a certain way in the real world.
Yeah.
That is not how life goes.
Hey, that's why it's changed. That's why life before the internet was such a great thing. I mean, things are easier, but man, it made you really get a better perception on the world
Hmm.
around you and what's going on with you yourself. You know, now that just like when you can use now, you can change how you look. You can alter your pictures. See, they don't want you being you
Hmm.
anymore and figuring out what makes you
Unauthentic.
special. You know,
Yeah.
not having the internet made you focus more on yourself. Now you got the internet. Now you can just do whatever you want. Everything is much simpler now. I mean, we just covered almost 15 different topics. So that's like
That's
15
a lot.
different aspects of our real lives that has changed. And then you look at how
Hmm.
things are today and you can't do nothing but really shake your head because of that.
Yeah.
Overall, overall.
Overall, that's what it is. You gotta shake your head and like we always say, just try to be that different because we know everybody just don't know, so they can't really do anything differently. But if you know, you can at least try. I mean, nobody perfect, but at least try to have that type of life that we used to have back in the day. Try to have it for those around you, just somewhat of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, because it's much different. This internet is crazy, and it's just a whole new world for people. And it could be helpful. It could be helpful when it comes to doing things, and but that's just the sad part. People not just using it for that. They're just using it to create a whole new life outside of the real world, and that's not good. That's not good for self growth. None of that.
I
So
agree,
that's just not
Raven.
good. What he say? What you say?
Raven said, "Kids these days boss around their parents. Yeah, these kids these days be trying to think they run
Yeah,
stuff, and they be trying to know. They be trying to see if they be trying their parents.
that's sad.
They'll try
I
them to
mean,
see
but you
like,
can't.
oh, are they going to do something?
Now that you can't blame on the internet. That you blame on the parents. That's your fault. Sorry, we can't blame the internet for everything here. As a parent, what you doing? Cause some
Right? Like,
kids
hey,
do
what
do
you
that.
doing? Right?
Right, what you
Um,
doing? I can't blame the internet for that. Your kid trying to boss you around. Cause if they knew better, they know better.
right. And they should understand. So
that
yeah, so I guess we gonna head out. That was good. Made the second part. That's what's up. What's up,
was
Lord
nice.
SOS?
Hey, Lord.
I'll be back later tonight to do my final hour of SmackDown, 8 o'clock
That's
Central
gonna be
Time.
cool.
So check me out later tonight if y'all want to see me do the wrestling. I haven't forgot about the food channel. I'll be putting some stuff up on there soon. And it was something else I wanted to mention, but I don't forgot. It's something else.
You talk about the food channel.
I'll be
Talk
doing.
about wrestling.
So
What
definitely
else
check
you
that
got?
out too. Neighborhood bike rides. Don't see kids doing it no more. Me neither. I used to
Mm-mm.
see that. That was another one. Yeah, man. Neighborhood. I remember back in the day when you would see like a group of kids on bikes riding all
Oh yeah.
everywhere.
And yes, on bikes, having a bike races. Yeah. Well, I mean, we were those kids.
Yeah, I would do it too.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we were those kids. Like, yep, get your bikes, let's do it. Yeah, and be outside all day. That used to be great. I was a kind of a lazy kid though, so I didn't like doing that every day. But when I did, it was fun.
I agree. And all right, see you later, Raven. Thank y'all for coming through, guys. I
See you later,
appreciate it.
Raven.
We're gonna try to get some more topics. Like I said, we're gonna try to do at least one of these a week, just
We
random
should.
topic we gonna discuss. This was a two-parter, so y'all got two this week because this is a two-parter.
Boom.
But
This
if I
was
could think of
juicy.
something soon, I'll try to take some more notes, write it down, and we can try to break it down. So thank y'all. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we finna get up out of here. You all
All
good?
right.
You good?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. That was pretty cool to start this off with a two-parter. That's pretty cool. That makes me think this is going to be a big thing for us. We started off already with a two-parter. So
Right.
it went good. This was cool to talk about because you don't even think about how many things have changed just because of the internet and to be here before the internet even started. Oh, the internet was here. We're not that old. It just didn't have that big of an impact as it do today.
Right.
So it's crazy thinking about how it was and how it is now. It is a big difference, but I just hope to stay grounded and keep remembering how it was and not get sucked up into this whole new world because it's crazy. So
Yeah.
thank you. Have a good one. Everybody have a good one. Thanks for watching. Check us later for SmackDown on a Friday and have a good weekend. Peace.
All right. All right. Take care, everybody. And I'll see y'all on the later tub. Peace out.